Hi, welcome to another video. Thanksgiving in America was once centered on being grateful and thankful for the harvest and the blessings that God has given you. It was a time of reflection. It was a time where people gathered together with their families and had a giant meal together, and they would recount the blessings and the things that God has given and bestowed upon them. Now, in recent decades, a new force has crept in and has overtaken this holiday. It's so powerful that it reshapes how millions of Americans spend their weekend. In this video, we're looking how the country has shifted from Thanksgiving and celebrating Thanksgiving to celebrating Black Friday and Cyber Monday. This is how the devil has hijacked Thanksgiving. The story of Thanksgiving in America began in 1621. Where British settlers and Native American Indians, they shared a 3-day harvest meal in Plymouth, Massachusetts. Now, the Pilgrims were deeply rooted in Christian faith. They believed in being thankful and grateful to God, both in abundance and in scarcity. They actually modeled what 1 Thessalonians 5:18 says, "Give thanks in all circumstances." Now, this experience wasn't called Thanksgiving, and it wasn't repeated after that. But later generations, they actually look back on that moment as a symbol of cooperation and gratitude. Now, through 17 and 1800s, different states held different days of Thanksgiving. And it wasn't until 1863 when President Abraham Lincoln, in the middle of a civil war, he declared the 4th weekend of November, where he declared Thanksgiving as a national holiday in hopes of uniting a fractured nation. Finally, in 1941, Congress enshrined this into law, and they said that the 4th Thursday of every November will be called Thanksgiving, a national holiday. It's important to know that Thanksgiving Day and this idea of giving thanks to God, it's actually not invented in America, but rather it has a biblical precedent. The people of Israel were supposed to give God in 2 different national holidays thanks to the blessings that he had bestowed on them on harvest. The 2 feasts were called the Feast of Weeks, and that was a feast in which at the beginning of the harvest, they were supposed to bring a free will offering to God from the best of their harvest. And at the end of the harvest, they also had a feast called the Feast of Tabernacles. This was a 7-day feast in which people rejoiced, in which people were giving thanks to God for everything that they had harvested, for the abundance of harvest that God has given them. Therefore, this idea of giving thanks to God is actually rooted in Scripture. While Thanksgiving became a day of reflection and gratitude, the day after Thanksgiving developed in a very different identity. 1950s in Philadelphia, police officers nicknamed the day after Thanksgiving as Black Friday. The reason they did that was because of the crowds, the chaos, and the shopping frenzy that overwhelmed the city of Philadelphia. But in 1980s, retailers who were losing money at the time, they gave the term Black Friday a new spin. They promoted Black Friday as the day that stores went from losing money from red, operating in the red, to turning into a profit operating in the black. By early 2000s, Black Friday wasn't just a term, it was actually an event. People started going shopping and stores started opening earlier and earlier at 6 a.m., at 4 a.m., at midnight, and eventually on Thursday evening. When people were supposed to be gathering together and giving thanks to God, they actually had to leave dinner and go shopping. It's like from going to being thankful to God and saying thank you, going shopping to being ungrateful and saying, I want more, I don't have enough, I need to get more, I need to get the best deal. This drew and sucked in millions of Americans. Families no longer shared a meal together, no longer went to dinner, but actually interrupted the dinner so they can go shopping. I remember a few years back, I went shopping for Black Friday for a specific thing. and it wasn't on sale anymore. It was gone. And because I was seeing everybody buying things and putting things in their cart and looking at all the markdowns, and I started buying things that weren't even on sale. Because you all know that prices get jacked up a week before Black Friday so that they can go down and be slashed in half, showing people that they're actually buying things on sale and they're getting a good deal. You can look on Amazon. You can track items. If you go on Amazon and look at that price history for the last 90 days, you can actually see this on many products where they jack up the price a week before and then they slash it in half, telling you're getting a good deal. Black Friday has exploded and has taken over Americans. Did you know that last year in 2024, 58% of adults in the United States, that's about 152 million people, have participated in Black Friday shopping? That's almost half of the country. Over the entire holiday weekend from Thanksgiving to Cyber Monday, about 197 million Americans have shopped. Now, more and more people are buying online. 87 million people bought online and 81 million people bought in stores. Last year on Black Friday, on online sales alone, people spent around $10.7 billion. That's up 10% from last year. And this year, they're predicting $11.7 billion, up from last year. Cyber Week may generate more than $44 billion. Showing how this shopping frenzy has expanded far beyond a single day. The entire holiday season, they're predicting this year that people are going to spend November and December about $1 trillion. That is a crazy amount of money that people are shopping, and they're buying things that maybe they don't even need or they don't even want. This year, there's another new phenomenon. More than half of the purchases that are happening online, people are actually buying them on their phones. And they're using what's called buy now, pay later method. And it's potentially gonna reach about $20 billion. You know what that means? That means that people are going into debt, buying things they don't have money for. This has been caused by new trends that are driven by young shoppers, especially by Gen Z, promoted on social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. These numbers show us something important. Thanksgiving is increasingly overshadowed by consumerism. While the Bible encourages gratitude, patience, and contentment with the things that we have, modern culture encourages urgency, materialism, and comparison. Now, Jesus warns us in Luke chapter 12, verse 15. Watch out! Be on guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in the abundance of possessions. Yet Black Friday tells us the opposite, that life is all about getting more stuff. So what does this all mean, especially for Christians? Does it mean that we cannot go shopping? Does it mean that we should not enjoy good deals? No, we should definitely want to get things on sale. But it does mean that we also need to guard our hearts, because anything that distracts us from having a thankful heart can distract us from God. Thanksgiving was built on acknowledging God's blessing. Black Friday is built on chasing more things. And as followers of Christ, we have to decide what voice or which voice do we listen to? Do we listen to God's voice or the voice of the world? If somehow you're still watching this video, I want to tell you one advice, and that is slow down. During this holiday season, slow down. Count God's blessings in your life. Your worth is not based on the things that you have. Your worth comes from being created in the image of God, by believing in Jesus Christ, by committing your life and having a commitment to follow Jesus Christ. So declutter your life. Things do not bring happiness. God is the only one that can actually give us true joy and true happiness. And spend time and spend money on the things that actually matter. Thank you for watching this video. If you found this message encouraging, go ahead and give it a like. maybe consider subscribing to the channel and also share it to somebody that maybe needs to hear this message. Thank you, and God bless you all.